Right, here is that issue of Excellent Force we have been teasing for a while. We had this listed in another issue I looked at. This is Excellent Force issue 91. A special Excellent Force tale. This is something that became very popular in the 90s and the 2000s. Interlude issues where maybe the book's regular artist isn't available, so they have a done-in-one that focuses on one plot line or one character. The character this time around is Bangle, the daughter of Squealy. And we start things off at the Golden Gate Bridge, where Bangle jumps off the bridge in an attempt to take her life. But the thing is, it's a fake out. She was just daydreaming. This is picking up on a development from the previous issue. We have seen that one listed in Summit 2. It's kind of the return of Ferret, the rubbish Wolf's Girl substitute. In that one, Ferret slices Bangle's throat with her claws. She shreds Bangle's larynx, so now Bangle can't even speak, and obviously this means that Bangle can't use her powers either. Unlike a lot of issues of this flavour, we do spend a lot of pages with the rest of the cast. The focus is on Bangle, but here we have the Excellent Force team and some downtime bits with them. This issue is written by John Roger Moore with guest artwork by Tommy Lee Jones. John Roger Moore has been writing the title since issue 63 or 64. He has been writing it for a long time, and one of his big things was kinda undoing Excellent Force and returning it to being a new Muties book. He brought Mary Sue Moonchild back. He had them separate from Cable Man. He eventually returned Cannonballs to the book. The run really picks up some steam around issue 82 when Sam Chang becomes a regular penciler. The great Sam Chang. 100 is the final John Roger Moore issue. It's a solid series, but it does lack great villains for his run. Similar to the concurrent Generation Next run, it's something I think of as a decent thing that Marvel were putting out, but it never gets talked about or mentioned because people are too busy saying how Kurt Busey and Jorge Perez's run on Avengers saved Marvel from their financial troubles, or how Martin Quaid finally made Captain America a good character, or how Avengers Forever is the greatest Avengers story ever told, bar none. We have a Swingers advert there. I need to mention Swingers every time because one of my subscribers gets violently ill if I don't. This scene with the team brings in Squealy, and we fill Squealy in on what has happened to his daughter. It's always good to see a writer actually tackle and address their relationship. With the pair being on different teams for most of the 90s, it almost never comes up. Here, it even references one of the recent developments in Generation Next, which I did mention in my recent review of Generation Next 59 that the Excellent Men's School now accepts non-mutie students. Got just the cutaway for here. I had 2 for last time and only got to use one of them. This is me being idolised by all the human kids who think that she is the hottest bitch at the school. I disagree. Emma Frosty's is the hottest bitch at the school. Back with Bangle, we have her reflecting on her history. We get to see some moments from Excellent Forces past, the original team, her falling in love with Thunderpath, and then her being promoted to field leader when Cannonballs left to join the Excellent Men. This somewhat saves me from going over her history, although I know I already did that in my review of Extra Factor 4, but I can't watch that. Any video from before January 2024, I don't recommend you watch. I probably should make a note of the characters and stuff I covered in 2023, because they probably deserve something that I personally deem watchable. I don't think I even mentioned her alcoholism, but that's okay, because this issue neglects to mention her relationship with Dead Pills, which should be an important factor at this point in any story about this character. Now, however, we have reached the fan favourite section of some of my videos, where I look at what other comics were out, and I consistently only ever have one issue, and then bash everything else that was out. It's not too bad this time, to be honest. It's different comics too. So I think the solution is, if I were to look at one of these comics listed here, then they will have a different set of comics listed when it comes to these. The one I have this time around is Cable Man issue 69. Go on, laugh away at the number 69. That is nearing the end of another great overlooked run from this period. The Joe Kelly and Josie Landiron run on Cable Man. I highly recommend those comics. Issue 48 through to 70. And then there's a -1 issue that starts it off. What needs pointing out is this has happened a few times and I've not noticed until afterwards. The solicit here is actually different to what we got. This mentions a guest appearance of Wingman and almost an entirely different story. I think this is a result of the upcoming crossover, which is also why this run ended. Armageddon had been pinched from Cable Man to function as the big bad for all the Excellent Men books. I don't have anything else listed here, but we have issue 2 of that Scarlett Johansson miniseries, issue 2 of 3. We had the first issue announced on one of these last time. And I'll tell you what, if I look at another comic and it has issue 3 listed on one of these pages, I will get that series. Once I have seen all 3 issues advertised on one of these, I will get that miniseries. There is, well, the main thing on here that I would say is worth a look, besides Cable Man, is Thor issue 13 by Stan Jurgensen and Junior Jr. However, that issue squandered an interesting new character Stan Jurgensen had introduced. more not, by revealing that he is not really a character at all. Still some quality artwork though. The rest is quite dreadful. Some of the worst stuff they were putting out. Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty 11. I am so glad Martin Quaid made Captain America into a popular character, finally. That must be why his second title is getting cancelled an issue after this. He's just too popular to support two titles. Fantastic Force 19. Now, I'll be honest, I've not bothered to read much of Christopher Clairvoyant's Fantastic Force run, but I think that's okay, because he didn't really have a Fantastic Force run. He had another run on an Excellent Men book, but this time starring Fantastic Force. He also wanted them to adopt Elliot Pride. He wanted them to become her adoptive parents, even though she already has parents. Some people think that man is a genius. And to think the doctors say I am the mentally disabled one. Spider-Man Chapter 1, Issue 9. We cannot escape the next chapter. And in fact, straight after that monstrosity is Spider-Girl Issue 1 by Jason Byrne. It takes some effort to make the Clone Saga look preferable. At the end of the list is Uncanny Excellent Men 370. This is the rudderless period where the books were not being written by anyone. It was editors pushing everything along and tagging someone to script their ideas. And lastly, we have the great announcement of that year's Avengers Annual, which is a spiteful rejection by Kurt Busey of any readers who were writing into the Avengers comic asking where so-and-so from the 90s is, or why a character has changed back into their ad costume. It is a story that depicts Avengers fans that are still holding on to the early 90s stories as crackpot, paranoid, insane people living in a basement, while being plotted by a man who is still holding onto the early 70s Avengers stories. I don't want to be accused of disingenuity. Yes, it is scripted by the same writer as this issue of Excellent Force, but the idea is Kurt Busey's, and he is credited for it. Said scripter also cannot spell acoustic. Make of that what you will. Eclipse gets into bother with immigration services. Oh, jeez, man. Keep your politics out of me books. The other Excellent Men are looking for Bango. We have some character with Squealy. It's really good. I have talked about Squealy in a video. I will actually recommend a Captain America review. Captain America 171. There will be a link to it somewhere on screen right now, but only on certain platforms. We have some of his history here, in fact, but I want to talk about how John Roger Moore was plotting and scripting this title. and it has really nice character beats and character exploration in this issue. And then you have him elsewhere at the same time scripting a Kurt Busey plot, and it is horrible. I mean, how is a writer meant to script a piece that says Avengers fans that are holding on to an era of comics are paranoid hermit freaks? How do you script that and have it be good? It's not even your opinion. You're being forced to write Kurt Busey's opinion. It's set in stone. You are told exactly what the intent of the story is. You have a nasty idea, an idea that exists just because Kurt Busey is sick of being asked about why Iron Man isn't a teenager anymore, or what happened to the mansion staff, or where Life Cry is, or why Wasps is human again. We touch on Bangles, alcoholism, unlike my Extra Factor review. She is a recovering alcoholic, and she has just bought some whiskey to deal with the loss of her powers and her voice. She got into heavy drinking when she was living with her uncle Black Jack, the villain Black Jack, who was forcing her into a life of crime. I'm surprised we didn't get a single panel appearance from the original Spider-Girl here. That is where Bangle first appeared. Meanwhile, Dominoes is teleported away. Mysterious, right? Well, this is set up for our next issue, which I have also talked about because it is the one with Wearside Jack, that character from Excellent Men 2019. There's another video I can link to, the one about him. Maybe I'll look at that issue soon. We get to the finish line, and is Bangle going to drink? She has been sober for 2 years. Is she going to break that? No, she is not. But she is leaving the team. She is leaving Excellent Force. And she is leaving her friends, while she goes off to try and sort her shit out. She appears a couple more times in the remainder of the run as unconnected cutaways. There is set up for a story where she has like a magic necklace or something, and she is possessed when she's wearing it. But that honestly never gets resolved. There is no reference to it ever again. The last time we see her, she is flying off, and someone else is in her body saying how great it is to be in a new body. Her injuries are then washed away in a Robert Liefeld Dead Pills comic. Dead Pills as healed. And so she gets her powers back. She's back to normal, that is it. Really lame. And it makes her trauma or her suffering feel lesser when Dead Pills could just throw her in a chemical bath and fix her. But Marvel often were the masters of undercutting their own stories with a different comic a few months later. This issue, Excellent Force 91, it has good bits with the characters. I don't think it really explores Bangle anywhere near as much as it seems to think that it does. I think it explored Squealy better than it did Bango. But it tried, and it succeeded at some bits along the way. I'll give it 7 thumbs up.